Do you play trading card games? Of course you do. That's why you're listening to / watching this thing. If you want to save money on your trading card purchases, we have a promo link over at 50cards.shop. Enter the promo code @night to get 5% off your order. Hey everybody, welcome to Scrubbed Out at Round 5, your weekly Vanguard podcast. I'm Atlas.
I'm Matt.
I'm Root Beer.
And
my deck code.
We're talking about our BRO experiences over the last weekend.
It's true.
Because it happened, and we were all there.
Somehow.
Yeah. So if you guys remember from Springfest, where I kept a journal, I had all three of us do it this time. So we're each going to talk about our experience round by round. And then at the end, we're going to show each other our deck lists. And I recommend watching this on YouTube to you audio listeners, because our deck list is going to be like on the screen.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay. I might not be able to find my deck list, so I might just have to show my desk with my cards splayed out.
If you really have to, that's fine. But I looked in my search history and search because you can do deck log and all the things will pop up, and then just start checking them. That's how it worked out for me. But I guess I'll go first since I had the least amount of time. You were there the least. I was there the least. I should preface this by saying that I knew I wasn't going to make it all the way to the end, even if I made it all the way to the end, because I had a comedy show that night. But also, I suck. So, moot point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I won't spoil what happened in your first round, but imagine having that happen to you.
Yeah. So let's get to it. First off, I played Tachikaze, and I was in for a total of 3 rounds. So in the first round, I was up against Eradicator, Narukami. So this was a thing that people were afraid of, because they have lots of ways to disrupt your board in the middle of battle phase, and also keep an eye on our channel for Friday. And here's what happened. So first off, this is the first time this has happened to me ever. And that is, we both got the Overtrigger on the same turn. And it was the first turn.
Nice.
He attacks with Vanguard, gets Overtrigger. I take Overtrigger on damage.
Very cool.
So
very skilled gameplay.
The turn just continued as normal, right? You're like, okay, so we just pretend it didn't happen. He's like, yeah, attacked again with Vanguard. I'm like, no guard, So it started off rough for me, where he was I didn't have a fast enough early offense to put him up against the wall. So I was off to a rough start, and he was binding a lot of cards early. But I managed to get back some of it with Gluttony Neberos, because I kept enough cards in hand to really, push him toward the end. Here's the thing, though. The way time works is that they go, all right, you have 10 minutes. A judge pops up in the BRO thing, goes, you guys have 10 minutes left. And when he came back after the 10 minutes, I thought it did the 0, 1, 2, 3 thing. No, it turns out that at the end of those 10 minutes, they look, and the problem was when the judge showed up. I had just taken my 5th damage. He was also at 5 damage. I had enough to prevent myself from taking that 5th damage at that moment.
But you didn't know.
I didn't know that the 0, how the 0, 1, 2, 3 thing worked in that sense, where I thought it was they just give you the 0, 1, 2, 3. Those 3 things happen, and then that's it.
Right.
It's 10 minutes, also 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, you guys are both tied. You both lose. So double loss. And the worst part is I could have won by perfect guarding maybe 10 seconds before.
Mm-hmm.
So That and Narukami's a bad matchup for Tachikaze, so I wasn't expecting to win necessarily, but it just felt bad. Round 2 was against Overlord, so
Okay.
I felt pretty good about that. Kagero isn't too much of a problem. So started off good. I got him to 5 by on turn 3 because I went first. He rides the X Legion, like the Legion, not just the V.
Yeah,
series.
that's their play.
Yeah. So he strides on me, and I have 2 heals and a perfect guard in hand. I'm like, I think I can do this. I can withstand all of the, all of the restands.
You fool.
And I literally said on the second swing, I go, Overtrigger to pass. Guess what happened?
You fool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then because this is Overlord, Force 2, a bunch of other stuff that gives your Vanguard crit, he took me from 2 to 6. And that was one of those, like, I Beetlejuiced the Overtrigger.
Yep.
Overtrigger to pass. Oh, really, you said? So, because I was X2, I was like, I might as well drop, but I also came to play Vanguard.
You didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I moved all my shit to the kitchen. I had to go grocery shopping after that, but I didn't want to do that. So I stayed for one more round. Played against Gold Paladin. He had the G assist on turn 1, so that started off good. And then I just killed him on turn 3 with Spino Driver and all that stuff.
Nice.
That's it. That was my BRO experience, which is vastly contrary to what happened at Springfest.
Fair enough.
Yep. So, didn't start off too good. I guess I'll wait till the very end for us to show deck lists. Who's next?
Do you want me to go, Ruby, or?
Yeah, go for it, I guess.
Sure.
Oh.
So I was playing Spike Brothers, a list that Proof put a lot of work into, and I looked at a bunch. And so I was playing the Galley version with a spicy tech that I'll kind of talk about in my round 1.
Mm-hmm.
Round 1, I played against Dimension Police. He was playing, I think, I don't know if, I think the cards were not great, Kaizard and stuff like that. Great. So I win the die roll, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes on his grade 2 turn, he just slams 3 Kaizard on the table.
Okay.
It's attack with 3 Kaizard. So I like guard. I like quick shield 1, normal shit. And take double damage. No big deal. And then on my turn, I ride Rising Nova and go into Greed on Bullspike to push pretty hard there. So I push him to 4. He goes into Geoma Glass, gets a heal. But I was at 2, and I just no guarded Geoma Glass because it only had 2 crit from its skill, or 2 crit total, and I was just no guard. And he didn't really check anything, and I went to 4, and then I went to Galley, and he got 1 trigger, but wasn't enough to live. Was 1 card short. Basically had a PG that made him not be able to live. The G Guardian for Dimension Police was kind of scary there, but I got the win.
Which one?
The one that adds 2 grade 3s back to your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the thing's real annoying.
That's the new one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the premium collection one. Round 2, I played against Grand Blue. Beatrice, of course. So the person had Sabriz in their deck, checking the deck log, so I kind of rewrote on grade 2. Just to kind of give myself a little bit more going on. They rode up, and then I strode Galley first, and they 3 to pass my Galley swing, and I hit the Overtrigger. Yeah.
And that's like an extra 10k and a crit one, right?
Yep.
Not the.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I was playing the Dark Six Overtrigger.
Yeah.
And he was not excited about that one. He went into Bad Bounty, Night Rose, full combo, Night Storm, or Night Mist, Bad Bounty, Night Rose, full combo. And I lived with 1 card in hand. So I had a 4-card hand, and going into his last 2 swings, I had Draw PG, Davy, the Stride Crit, and Recusal Hate.
What?
So I PG discarding Davy.
Yeah.
Then discarded Recusal Hate with 1 card in hand to not have to discard.
Oh my god.
On the last Skull Dragon.
Good job. Yeah.
So I live with only Lynette in hand, and he's at 4 damage. So I draw a second stride crit for turn, ditch stride crit to stride Verminous,
Okay.
and then call the stride crit to the force circle. And
Nice.
Go attack with Verminous, 38, 2 crit Vanguard, has to guard. Attack with stride crit, 14k, 2 crit Vanguard, has to guard. On guarding that attack, activate Verminous, draw a card, call another thing, attack again. Draw a card, call another thing, attack again. And eventually he was just unable to guard.
That's really funny.
Nice.
I was half expecting you to be like, all right, I went into Dirty Picaro.
I don't even have that card. I don't even have that card in my G zone.
I didn't even know if it was a thing anymore or not.
So round 3, I played against Nightmare Dolls, and this is where kind of like me not playing a lot kind of gotten me into trouble. So Nightmare Dolls is really, really annoying. He went first and did the ride down play with Chelsea. So
Okay.
I was forced to ride up and did greed on. I ended up getting the Overtrigger really early, which is pretty good, but and so I pushed him to like 4 damage pretty early, and I was like just trying to push. Or no, I didn't. No, not 4 damage. This was a different game. Sorry. No. I did push to 4 because I was just kind of like just going for it, basically, just trying to kick their teeth in. And what was really messed up is on the Dark Lord Princess turn, they healed back down to 2. They hit double heal.
Double heal, that's the worst.
And I'm just like, all right. And I managed to live through it, even though there's a million Alice attacks. And then he ends up living through my galley turn with 1 card in hand. But I think I made a misplay where I should have called Bracky to make 1 larger column rather than 2 smaller attacks.
Okay.
I was basing on the number of cards in hand. If he didn't get a trigger on damage, he was like guaranteed dead to this way. But this played around a trigger on damage. Well, I don't know about guaranteed, but like needed like a lot. Anyways, I should have thought about that. I think at least consider the option. Mm-hmm. And then round 4, I played against Highlander, Bermuda Triangle. The person seemed unfamiliar. I went second. They went into Kutire and bounced it with Aqua. Searched for Sandy, I believe. And then they rode get grade 3 and found 2 grade 3s off their drive checks. They searched for a Nesca at some point. I don't remember when that was. I think it was on my turn. But I just strode Galley and murdered them.
I was going to say, as somebody unfamiliar with Highlander.
Sure. We sat down and they were like, "Oh, I haven't played against new spikes," and I'm like, "Oh no."
Good. All right, then I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. And then round 5 was my camera match, and where I forgot to stride.
Oh no!
Could you go into a little bit more detail about that? Like, what happened in the early game?
I mean, nothing. My opponent was playing Royals.
Okay.
So they just rode Jewel Knights and drew cards.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but I mean, like,
how did you forget to stride?
Yeah.
I was too deep in the tank. Part of the problem with playing a deck that requires more than 3 brain cells is that sometimes you're just too deep in the tank and thinking about your turn in order to remember to do basic game mechanics.
Sounds about right.
So was it you started doing main phase stuff and you were like, oh shit.
Yeah. And then I looked at my Vanguard and I'm like, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
But either way, I just kind of conceded the game after that. I didn't concede. I just no-guarded everything. But is what it is. And then I dropped after that round.
All right. And then I stayed in the longest, even though I had arguably the worst deck. So round 1, I was playing against Narukami. It was Vanquisher, and I made the mistake of calling cards.
Wait, first, what were you using?
I was playing some like cope-ass Anjay deck. We'll show it at the end.
Okay.
But yeah, I was playing Bermuda Triangle, and so my first round was against Vanquisher, pretty standard list, and I made the mistake of calling cards.
Gotcha.
And, that's about it. Round 2, I played against Dark Irregulars, so I did not open a grade 2, and the game just kind of spiraled downward from there, and my opponent was trying very hard to help me, because they were playing the Amon grade 1 that lets you, like, put a card from hand to soul and draw one. So they were, like, actively helping me look for a grade 2, and I still couldn't find it.
Dang.
So I just had to kind of, like, ride another grade 1, and then draw using that one girl that can, like, Soul Blast 3. And then like the next turn, I drew all my aquas. But like,
at once.
Yeah, but I had nothing else in hand to make like a good early game, so the game just kind of spiraled downward
Okay.
from there. So I lost that. Round 3, I played against Angel Feather, and I checked the Overtrigger on turn 2, and the game spiraled downward from there, but in the other direction.
Because the lyrical Overtrigger
It's
is
just
amazing.
plus 10k to your board for
It's
the
pretty
rest of the
good.
game.
It's pretty good.
It's kind of good.
Was it the Angel Geese guy that got in the top 16, or was this just like regular Angel Feather?
No, this was just like Gavriel. So
Okay.
they were playing two of. This was a weird list. Do you play like the old Gavriel with the stride effect still?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I did ask my friend Dakota. He's the only one I know who plays
Although
Angel Feather.
they did survive a lot longer than I wanted them to, because they apparently just had like 3 heal guards in hand during my first stride turn, so they just kept G guarding.
Oh, and Angel Feather's got fucking dope G guards too.
Yeah, and my concern the whole time was that he was gonna go into that stride that lets you lose at 8 damage and like stall the game out, because Anjay is like really bad at maintaining advantage because of Heltrauda, but they like never did that and just kept making subpar turns. So I was like,
that's the purple hair girl is their win con though. It's supposed to be you survive till then, go into that, and then every attack rips out your entire hand because it's like X door based on number of.
Who has the time?
Yeah, no, he just he was being like really salty at the start too because he lost to some weird Royal Paladin deck. So like he just played that matchup really badly plus Overtrigger. So like,
oh yeah,
I feel like they could have made a comeback, but they just never like did anything. Yeah, and then I think round 4 I played against Schwarzschild.
What?
No way.
Link
No
Joker.
No
Link
way.
Joker.
No way.
I played against
No
against Schwarzschild. I have the deck code.
Okay. Show it, like, if you want to show it now, you're welcome to.
Yeah,
just, like,
hang on.
shot.
I'm trying to like find.
No shot.
There's no way, because like, and
I'm finding the
Schwarzschild
list.
Dragon was.
I don't even remember what V Schwarzschild does, if
Me
it even
neither.
exists.
Yeah.
I could not tell you.
While I'm looking for this, I'm just going to say the game did not last very long because I just checked triggers like every round.
Oh, okay.
There we go. I found it.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen really quickly.
All right. Because like this thing. First off, Link Joker isn't really like a problem.
Yeah. But yes,
Okay,
I'm not joking. This man was actually playing Schwarzschild Dragon.
Freeze Ray in 2022, the year of our Lord.
I feel like that's the only way Link Joker can really do stuff is freeze ray. Like you have to use that to.
Yeah.
Curve.
No, they were like actually playing this deck.
This is cursed.
This is
You know what?
crazy.
That's funny though.
What was their
Yeah.
big play exactly?
I have no idea because the game didn't go that long.
Yeah,
I like strode and triple triggered them, and they just died.
Okay,
that's what we call skilled.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a really funny thing where because they were using like the old ride line version of Gravity Ball, they rode Zirconium, locked a card from the top of my deck, and then went into the Gravity Collapse using Gravity Ball. So that was kind of cool.
Okay, wait, I gotta go back and look at Gravity Ball.
Yeah. In hindsight, I misplayed it a bit because I was like, I didn't want them to get the on hit and ride up to Schwarzschild early. So I like used the heal guard instead of because the gravity collapse was the gravity collapse was 15k. So I'm like, if I guard using a trigger, then that's a 1 pass, and I don't want to risk it. But it was one of those, like, in hindsight, if the game had gone longer, like, not having the heal guard meant I couldn't do as much stuff for G guarding and the like. But, the game just didn't go that long.
Okay. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, round 5, I was supposed to play, like, Nubatama Hanzo, but, like, they didn't show up, so that was just a bye.
Bummer.
And then round 6, I played against Night Rose and lost despite having every possible advantage.
Yeah, you said that in the chat, and I didn't really know what you meant at the time.
Yeah, so they G assisted for grade 1. They succeeded. Then, I finally started like a good opening hand, so I went with like the Liza-Lot Rush. Then they like started attacking rear guards, which is where I first started misplaying. I think I should have committed some. I didn't want to commit the stride crits just in case because I only had the one grade 3 in my hand, so I like kind of let it go. But that meant that I didn't have counterblast, which isn't a huge deal because I don't need counterblast early. But it meant I couldn't keep pressuring them while they were low on cards. So, since it's Grand Blue, they just keep like gaining resources as the game goes on. So, I like lost out my pressure early by not guarding my rear guards, and then they kind of came back and beat me.
Oof.
And also they like put a Honolulu on board, and I was stuck on Tirua, so that wasn't fun either. And I think I misplayed my stride turn. I went into Olivia, which was in hindsight not very good, and I paid for an extra attack that I couldn't make because of Honolulu. So I think I probably should have just used the Anjay stride instead, like bounced everything back to his hand and just started drawing cards to survive. So yeah, I just played.
I paid all my
despite having every possible advantage.
I just paid my opponents to not call Honolulu. This is a joke, but people had it in their deck and then just didn't call it.
Yeah. Oh, also, I got a bunch of trigger checks on him early, but on grade 3, he heal guarded my vanguards on the restand. So, and then I did not get another crit.
Happens.
So not skilled.
Yeah, people don't. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I had a lot of opponents who had one Honolulu in their deck that can search for it, like Highlander Bermuda, who just didn't bother digging for it, and then the Grand Blue player didn't bother dumping it either.
Strange.
Yeah. So no, my opponent was actually pretty smart about how they played their deck.
I had a weird. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they they made the correct decision of attacking my rear guards, denying me damage. They put the Honolulu on the board, so I think they did everything right. I just played my side of it really badly and lost because of it.
That happens. I did do a lot of work in playing around Cannoneer. My Grand Blue opponent natural milled the Cannoneer off of Greed Shade, and I'm just very nice.
Great, it's there.
Yeah,
nice.
And they're playing one. They're always playing one, right?
Yeah.
And
Why would you need to?
Right. Also, I think every single card in Grand Blue is way over, so good. Every single one of their rear guards is insane. And even the cards that you would think would be stable for us, they're we'll play two.
Yeah,
they're playing two Greed Shade, and that card's nuts.
Mm-hmm. It's because you can find anything anytime. Columbard and Greed Shade.
Yeah, and they're only playing 2 or 3 Columbard. That's the worst part.
Mm-hmm. But they ride it every game.
Every single time.
So, yeah. Not a banner year for us. Richard wasn't there. A lot of my other friends just didn't bother. So.
I had an okay time. I just basically wanted to stop because of my huge mistake. I thought I was playing okay for, I don't know. Also, my setup looked super clean.
Oh, yeah. I saw that part. That was...
I wasn't really watching the stream just because I wanted breathing time between matches.
That's fair. But, yeah, I like the angle I had. I like the... I don't know. No one said anything about my mat despite it not being Bushiroad official, so I'm going to keep running it. They're you're the only person I've seen with I was talking with John Chaden and others afterward, and they were basically you're the only person I've seen with a spell ground on stream.
I guess it's just generic enough that no one asked any questions.
Pretty much. It's oh, whatever.
I had ours, the one from
yeah.
So
I had a Gavriel mat that in hindsight was too small.
It doesn't have any licensed stuff on it, so I didn't think it'd be a huge deal.
Yeah, the only thing on mine was our little logo that Hao made for us on the side there. So
Hao had a rough event, huh?
Yeah,
yeah. I think he got hit with the Overtrigger game 3 and dropped.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think he stayed in for a long time. I looked on the standings and he was 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Him and She Devil Gaming was there for a long time too. She hung out, I think, near the end.
Yeah, I didn't want to play 9 rounds of that. It was going to be midnight when it was over, and I was oh, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go vibe and play Live Alive.
Sounds good. I would have been down to keep going but like after a while, I was just tired.
Yeah.
I did kind of regret like dropping when I did, just because like that was such a good round with the Gold Paladin guy, and I just really didn't want to go grocery shopping. Like I was just walking around to Ralph's, being like, oh, "Damn it, I could be playing Vanguard right now." Like, and actually, in the Ralph's is where Root Beer told us about the Shorts Chilled thing, like right after it happened. So I'm standing in the liquor aisle of this Ralph's, just laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
And the
I
guy
would have
comes
been
up to me and
so
is like,
down for
"Okay."
losing to that deck, but the universe decided that I would get 3 crits that game.
The Chaos Universe decided to, yeah. Matt, if it wasn't on stream, would you have stayed a little longer? You think, or
I don't know. I think I was gonna drop. I think if it was early enough for X2, I was like not really that confident.
mm-hmm.
If I had lost a round later, I probably would have stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Makes sense. So I guess now would be the time for us to do like kind of sort of deck profiles. I think what I'm going to do is I'll have it on the episode here, and then I'll make a point of like separating them and then having them just be videos also.
Yeah.
So card by card, all that good stuff. I guess I'll go first. Share screen. There we go. Better?
Yep.
Good. All right. Okay, so my Tachi list here is pretty similar to the one I ran at Springfest. So a big change was, Spino Driver's still here. Barrel Tops is something I added instead of the I keep forgetting his name. The thing that looks like Gaia but isn't Gaia, that goes into Salt and gives your Vanguard a crit. So after a couple times at Springfest where I didn't want to have to ride it or ride a Heal Guardian, I started running 2 copies of Barrel Tops, which, on play, if you have an Ancient Dragon, you get to draw a card and he gets 5k. So if you call it mid-battle phase, it can hit 22 on its own on an XL2 circle. It hits 17, and then like with any booster, it's hitting force numbers. And even if you have to ride it, it's still like a draw 2, kind of like Spino Driver is. So I just thought it was a pretty good option, and indeed that did turn out to be the case, where it helped me survive against the Narukami guy. So I think this turned out to be a good choice. I don't think it's going to stay once we get like Spino Driver Reverse in a few weeks, but
fair enough.
Yeah, pretty good card at the time. Regiodon, the cat were pretty straightforward. I did change from 4 Megarex to 2 Megarex to Spino Driver, and I think this turned out to be the wrong decision.
You mean Spino Extort?
Spino Extort. Wrong Spino, yes. Spino Extort, this guy, the grade 2.
I think he's not that great.
Yeah. I just like the idea of retiring a Regiodon or a Blue Sprint and calling 2 things instead of 1.
But that's never how it goes down.
Yeah.
It seems like something that'll come up enough, and then it just doesn't. Especially since you're playing Sweeper, any extra gauge is probably going there and not on one of those units.
Yeah. So this ended up being the wrong decision. It didn't end up hurting me all that much because I think I only saw it once in all of the 3 games. It was either damaged or gauged or so. But just in the future, I think I'm just going back to 4 Megarex.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Megarex.
I think Megarex is just too good.
Mm-hmm. This is something I often get people giving me the side eye for. So running Sweeper in not Anger Blader.
I'm not so. If you're gonna go in on Sweeper, why only 3?
So it's not necessarily going in on Sweeper because it's less for shooting for that magic 3, and then just keeping it on board. It's more for it allows you to be aggressive early with a Savage Shooter, where you go draw, call him. He's got 1 swing. Now he's hitting 19, so that's hitting over a trigger on damage. And then later, he can just be like a presence on board. But also, and again, I know we just talked about this, you can, if you know that your opponent's going after him, attack with him, he gets his gauge, and then attack with Spino Extort, kill him, and then call the thing that was under it. This is what I was thinking of at the time. But otherwise, it's mostly just like also Neberos fuel, because it mostly just stays there, so you can just poop at it. I
wonder if this is... I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't like this as much as Merc, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, so it kind of fulfills the same role as Savage Mercenary. I just really hated drawing Savage Mercenary as my grade 3 and not being able to G-assist, but also you can't ride it.
Yeah, so, I mean, just skill issue, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one I know is kind of a controversial pick, but it worked out pretty well for me. So
yeah,
Archbird, all that seems pretty straightforward. Raven Terra came back in after previously being gone at Springfest. It's because I needed countercharge, and I realized there wasn't really a way to do it that's not incredibly like clunky.
Yeah. Having a gorge also sometimes relevant.
Yes. Geoconda, the Soul Blast 2 on Flip 2 is like,
not it.
Yeah, not it. The little purple guy that like when he's killed, you can countercharge Soul Charge if you have like
also garbage.
Yeah, this just is the best option, and I hate that it's the best option, but it is. It's just too damn flexible. I'm
surprised you were on. Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Comment. I'm surprised you were on 4 Prison Bird and 3 Blue Sprint. I think 4 Blue Sprint's like really hard to move off of.
I was at that between the two tournaments, but I ended up going back to 3 Blue Sprint because I had the Barber's Law problem of having too many Blue Sprints at once and being like, it's a hard once per turn.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I switched it to 4-3 and it worked out fine.
Well, I guess with 4 Mega X, it's less of a problem because you can just call it early and eat it with Mega X.
Yeah,
so you get through them faster.
Yeah, also true. So I think if I go back to 4 Mega X, I might be able to go back to 4-3 the other way.
Mm-hmm.
This thing saved my butt several times.
That thing's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Little Tyranno. So there's like typically you run either 2 of this thing or 2 of Baby Chimera, which can search a specific grade 1 from deck when it's killed. This just allows you to check top 4, call 2. It allowed me to make more out of less, especially against the Narukami guy where I was, coming from behind. I called this off of like a Blue Sprint, and then I had the other one in hand. So because I ate both and he gave me so much counterblast, I was able to just like poop out an entire new board off of nothing. So this thing is fantastic. I think the Baby Chimera does justify its existence if you choose to run the Engorge PG that bounces itself.
I think you need that and Honolly.
Yeah. That and then sometimes the Paris Lamp or whatever his name is, where you can like rest and put 3 gauge under him.
Oh yeah.
So you can it's like an almost 1 Neveros fuel thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those do have merit, but this just turned out to be the better option, I think, for this particular meta where Narukami is running around.
Fair enough.
Triggers are pretty
stands.
What? 2 stands?
Yeah, discuss the 2 Sela Magnum. Most people play 3 to 4.
So I wanted more aggression with extra crit, like having 5 crit, which is also why I did the Dragon Empire OT instead of the vanilla one, which a lot of Tachi builds tend to do.
Yeah.
Sela Magnum is more for...
but the loop...
I'm not a fan of the loop. I'm not a fan of loops in general.
It's a pretty easy loop to demonstrate, luckily.
It is, yeah.
So you're like, all my rear guards are infinite power, thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's just not my cup of tea. So
fair enough.
That's why, and it didn't really turn out to be super relevant. I think there was one game where I ended up having to like eat one, but most of them were either gauged on damage, that kind of thing.
Fair enough.
So I don't think it really ended up being a factor.
Yeah, you gauge that thing a lot.
Yeah. The 3 actual PG to 1 crit PG again for the aggression factor.
I've liked the 2-2 split a lot.
2-2? Yeah.
But I understand.
Mm-hmm. I think having 3, turned out would have saved my butt if I was more aware of the time rulings.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but that's that for the G zone. We have 2 of this guy, the new guy. I used this once against the Kagero, guy, and it works pretty good. The only problem is you don't really have nearly as much hand advantage, and I think that might have ended up costing me the game because maybe I could have drawn a PG and maybe survived his OT restand. Maybe.
I see.
Yeah, I think after this I'm going to cut it to 1 because I don't think you're ever going into this twice.
Right.
Yeah. New G guard just straight power creeps blockade Genga. This never came up. Nebarosa 2 was fine. I think. What's his?
I think I would just play OG Dogma over Dynast.
Dynast has been helpful in like games with friends, but that's neither here nor there. Like again, it never came up, so there's not really a
fair enough.
Yeah, I know a lot of people tend to just run 1 Dynast just so you can like on a late turn like recall your whole board after you kill it all. Unless
Wait, doesn't it have to flip itself?
No, you flip anything.
Nope.
Oh, it is. Oh no, because it's not so much that it's like you can just do engorge in that GB.
Oh, I see.
Without having to do this. Yeah,
I see.
So that's why. Nebaros being based as always.
That card's pretty good.
Yeah.
The GB8, which I almost never use.
Same. This is literally for Link Joker and nothing else.
You have 7 G guards?
Yeah.
No, you have 6.
No, 6.
6, yeah. 2, 3, 4.
Oh, you have an SP
5,
one.
6. Yeah.
I was like, why are you playing 2? Why are you playing 1 of this?
No,
now I see.
Oh, this thing was hilarious. Especially against.
Good.
Yeah. I did make the mistake of against the Narukami guy doing Spino Driver's effect, which then allowed him to capitalize on that with the new Narukami stride that just sent you for every open front row.
Exterminate,
Yeah.
Don't you love how Narukami just has answers for every scenario? Like, you commit a board, they punish you with stun verse. You don't commit a board, they punish you with exterminate.
Yeah, you pick your poison, right?
Right, but I also could have like made it easier on myself by not creating more board for me not to have.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you have to play the guy. It devastates. You have no choice. Even like you rarely stride that card, but it comes up just enough. I feel like, and this might be a hot take.
Yeah,
I feel like that you only need 1 of the new stride. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think I'm cutting it into 1 and putting it back up to 3 Nebaros. Or
I like that.
Cut it to 1. Cut this, which I mostly use for flip fodder, but also those rare times where you have 2 or more.
It comes up. Also, the fact that it gauges without like taking a million cards out of your deck is also pretty nice.
Yes, that is also a thing that you can do.
Very relevant.
Dismal because sometimes,
I mean, I think Tachi has to play it.
This is mostly flip fodder for Bullish Primer, but
I'm surprised you're not playing any Blockade Ganga.
I mean, this just kind of does its job. It's the same thing. You kill things and it gets shield for them.
That's true. It's vaguely different, but yeah, no, I get it.
I think I feel like if I'm going to bring Blockade Ganga back, it'd be like a 1-1 split or...
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe.
I think that one's probably better. I don't know. I haven't played enough with the new one yet. I do have 4 though somewhere.
Yeah, so that was pretty much my deck list. And if you're watching this just by itself, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me, are you running anything similar? All that good stuff. Yay!
Alrighty. So
that's mine.
So I suppose I'll go next. Keep the order the same here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share a. How do I share a window?
So it's like share screen.
Oh, I found it.
Yeah. And then I gotta
go over to your deck list.
Just go over to the window with
this one.
There it is. Yeah.
All right. So I was playing Spikes on deck name 03 Drop, which.
Oh yeah, I forgot to call mine Watch Nexus. I called mine Watch Nexus at night, and then sucked with it. So that's cool.
This is a list that Proof put a lot of work into, probably more than me. I mean, he and I basically reached the same shell. Then he was like, we talked about Daisy a lot, and then, there's some extra text, right here. Say. But I cannot thank Proof enough for the work he's put into this deck. And so the big thing in this was, so obviously you're centered around Rising Nova, who is an incredible grade 3 to have in any deck, really. Like the fact that you get both a Force 1 and Force 2, obviously insane. And you have this grade 3 lineup, so Bull Spike and Greedon gives you a 1 CB play to do on your ride up turn with Ambush Dexter and any random grade 3. So it's pretty nice just to be able to have both of these things, or the access to this. I play 2 Bull Spike just because it's the more important piece, because even if Greedon is somehow gone, you can still do Lucifer plus Bull Spike with 2 CB for something else, right? So you still have like a play to do on your right up turn. It's a little less good than I think than the Greedon one, but still something you can do. And the reason I like Greedon plus Bull Spike is that Bull Spike has the ability to move markers, so that you can put the force markers on Van and then have Bull Spike pull them off, which sets you up for your galley turn in the next turn. So it just ends up at the best end board. The grade 2s here, I mean, this card is really important in that it countercharges, which comes up actually all the time, and you basically abuse this card a lot just to make sure that you have more CB than it looks like you have. And so you can do a lot with like 1 or 2 CB just because you can keep spamming this card.
Yeah, I noticed that, so Living Proof put up like a combo video a couple days before the event, and he was just like going through every other card came back to Lucifer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk more about that in a second. This card is a new card that came for Spike's Agile Fullback. Mm-hmm. It can attack from the back row center slot. So when it's placed there, it can attack from the back row. If it's placed by a card ability, it gets plus 10k. So it's a 20k attacker from the back row. On galley turn, it turns into a 30k attacker from the back row.
Nice.
It's just an absolutely massive rear guard and a really important one to have access to, which is why we play the full 4. Because it fulfills a unique role that is unmatched by any other card in the deck. The fact that it can attack from the back row, and it ends up with a lot of setups with Ambush Dexter. Mm-hmm. We play 4 Davy and 3 Rona. Both of these cards kind of fulfill very similar roles. Davy has an extra one where it can call Daisy, and then you can go Daisy into Lucifer, but then Lucifer will go away at the end of the turn. So you kind of have to, but you can still use it to get extra attacks later down the line. But these two cards kind of do the same things. For a while, it was like on 4-2, 4-3. Like these numbers bounce around quite a bit. But usually you want 4 Davy for sure, because you want to make sure you have that you have more Dudley names, just in case. And then the 3 Rona, which sometimes is better because it has boost naturally, instead of relying on Galley to give a boost.
I see.
And then 2 Bracky, because it has kind of the most replaceable role. In the
most replaceable,
it's just a big attacker in the front row. It's
okay. You can
nothing too special, right?
Yeah.
I was choosing to play one recusal hate, just because I wanted to have a split of PGs. Mm-hmm. There's definitely an argument to play. The recusal hate was a really early adaptation and one that I just kind of stayed with. There's a argument to play like Liar Lips or something like that. The 30k shield.
Yeah. The one with the amazing abs that.
Yeah. So I think Liar Lips is also pretty good. I just didn't choose to play it here. Mm-hmm. I played 3 Acrobat Verity because I want to find enough grade 3s, specifically Rising. I'm not playing any G Verity.
To search specifically Rising, right?
Right. I'm just playing Acrobat just because it's a better card and pound for pound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing 4 Ambush Dexter. It's important to almost virtually every combo line. It is uncuttable. You have to play more of this card.
I see.
I'm playing this starter because it comes SP and the other one does not.
Mecha Trainer doesn't that's all he would talk about in testing when we were testing was I need
And then the only other relevant card here is Mecha Instructor, which is another way to set up combo plays. So what you'll usually do is, if you've seen Proof videos, which I highly recommend to check out if you're interested in this deck at all, you use Mecha Instructor to bind Ambush Dexter. Ambush Dexter gets called back by Mecha Instructor. You eat any grade 2 rear guard, call Agile Fullback in the back center. call like Bracky and like one of the front centers, and then put Dexter on the Excel rear guard, and you have 3 attacks out of this one column.
Excel? What do you mean?
Or sorry, on the 4 circles.
Oh, okay.
So that he's like 28 with a crit, then you have 2 30k attacks off of just a mecha instructor column in a random grade 2.
And you were playing the Dark States OT just for that like Vanguard pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Checking this is pretty good. It basically forces your opponent to ride up sometimes. If you check it hella early, your opponent just has to ride up for grade 3. They just can't grade 2 you anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's just generally nice. And the crit's not bad either. And it came up in, like I said, one of my games where it's just my Vanguard having an extra crit was really big. But I think it's probably pretty small, but I think the Dark States one is slightly better to me. All right, so the G deck is pretty straightforward. I play 3 galley. You might need 2 usually, but like you just play 3 just to in case you like flip up one or whatever. This is kind of the star of the deck. This is the new spicy card. I like this card a lot. It's so sick. It also gives your rear guards boost for some reason. This is kind of a throwaway line of text that comes up sometimes. Then this card was really good. This card is like the fact that it draws a card. I definitely underestimated I definitely underestimated on a G guard. Like oftentimes I'd use this, it'd be a 35k shield draw card.
Yeah,
that's pretty
really
nice.
strong.
Yeah, and for kind of boss 1, which is pretty good. And I definitely I definitely used this and drew another heal, and I was just like, dang, that's
nice.
Yeah. Oh, sweet, another G guard. This card did win me a game. It's nice to play 1, just because you end up with a whole bunch of soul. And,
what's his deal again?
So whenever a rear guard attack on a force marker does not hit, you soul blast 2, turn up a card from your G zone, draw a card, then call a card from hand to rear.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't call the open rear, so you just keep calling on the same rear guard.
Nice.
And just keep battling. I played this. I never once went into it. Never had any intention to go into it. This card sucks, but maybe there's a world in which I tried this thing. I also never went into this, but its effect is pretty good actually. I can definitely see a world where I would stride this, but it did not happen this event.
I remember when that came out, that was like their like main playmaker for like, I don't really have a thing to do. Like I don't have the combo set up.
Yeah, I mean, that happened a lot back when you were relying on this guy.
Yeah, Galley kind of fulfills that role now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
3
Linus, just in case you draw a billion heals, and you can just kind of storm your way to GB a million.
Yeah.
I played 2 of this just because this card can pull from Soul, which is pretty relevant. Why does it say power plus 10,000? Anyways.
Soul or drop to bottom of deck, right?
Soul or drop to bottom of deck.
Okay.
And so being able to pull certain cards that get stuck in your soul, like especially if you're out of Lucifers or whatever, is really, really, really important. And this card I never once strode because I don't want to.
But it's there.
Yeah, the G zone's not terribly interesting. Mostly we're just relying on Galley and just trying to do cool Galley things.
Is there anything you would have changed between like the day and now?
Like I said, there's a lot of things I think about running over like a lot of like basically the cards that are worth changing in this deck are like one of the like here. So the Greedons, the Bull Spikes, the Brackies are like the main cards that you can change, and maybe like cutting maybe one Agile, maybe one Rorna. But like you don't have a lot of space to work with. But there's definitely a lot of tech. And maybe you can shave Acrobats. And there's definitely a lot of tech cards that or like draw engine stuff that like there's definitely a lot of things that I would consider running. But it's I don't know. This time I just kind of played I don't know.
Have your cake and eat it too, because the Rising Greedon thing happened before Premium Collection.
Because Spikes didn't have a first stride, so you had to do something.
Yeah. And then now even like you've somehow managed to do that anime thing where the guy makes a new deck and then he combines his old deck with his new deck and it works perfectly.
I mean, like I said, it's a lot of them. A lot of it's most of it's proof. So I don't want to like
Fine, Proof's the anime protagonist.
That's
whatever.
right. No, Proof is 100% the anime protagonist. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know what I would change. I think the list is pretty fun. It's definitely not easy because you have a lot of setup to do, and you need to make sure that you set up your board properly going into Galley.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty easy to get units stuck in places where you don't want them.
I see.
You know, kind of like behind Vanguard, say, or whatever. So you really have to like process what your attack order is going to be like well before you start putting stuff down. But yeah, sweet deck.
Yeah, I mean, like Spike's got in the top 8, I think, both in Asia and in Europe. If I had that right,
I think that's true.
Yeah,
I think the one in Europe was playing Juggernaut Maximum, which I don't like, but you know they were playing the Liar Lips, which is why I thought of it. Which is why I think Liar Lips is pretty interesting. I can see it. What am I going to say? Oh, this deck's also pretty cheap. I think the only expensive card in the deck is Rising Nova, which is like $15. I think the rest of it's like pennies.
Yeah, I know Greedon is because like I pulled an SP one like forever ago and it's still sitting in my binder and it's
give it to me.
Deal. You want it? I'll
Nice. I was like, dang, do I want an SP Greedon? I was thinking about that for a long time.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think. And yeah.
Hold on, we still got one more. Oh yeah. And subscribe to Living Proof.
Oh yeah, please
subscribe to Living Proof. Someone who is much smarter than us.
Long time friend, has been on this show when we've been absent, or just all around great guy. Subscribe to him.
He was here for our first video about Overtriggers.
That's true. It was. All right, root beer.
Please end my suffering.
Explain everything.
What are these? I've never even seen these cards before. What's going on here?
Root beer idols. Love the name.
I mean, I would probably change it to Please End Me if I were to name the deck right now. But as you can see right here, these cards in the middle are the only reason why I'm playing this deck.
Are those SPs?
Yes. They're all different kinds of SPs, too.
Very
interesting.
Nice. So yeah, I was playing this weird-ass Anjay list, so I have 4 copies of Anjay, 3 copies of Tira, because I was kind of expecting Mega Colony was still going to be around, and it was, although I didn't play any, so Tira is like the ride you go for when you're under Gridora.
Hold on. You have 3 different Tira SPs?
Yes.
That is incredible. Continue.
So at the time, this was like at the end of V, so these cards... Anjay was expensive because I guess she's nice, but like the Tira SPs were all super cheap when I bought them, so I'm like, alright, sure. So I bought the swimsuit versions of every boss card that I was playing. So I have one for Anjay, I have one for Vert, and I have an SP for Pacifica that I bought from James, and then Tira, I just have the 3 different SPs. So that is the only reason I'm playing this deck.
Very nice. What's that card over there to the right? It looks familiar.
Gee, I wonder what this card is. So yeah, one of the techs I decided on was Hoppensteller Melty, a card from Lyricals. Because
this is not a tech. This is 4 copies. That's just in the deck.
This was a decision that I had made because when I was playing, because this card tells you to discard 3 cards before you attack.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, or before you drive check. So I was just like, dang, I have no card advantage. I need a way to draw cards. And I was like thinking, and I was looking through all of like the regular Bermuda cards, like nothing is solving my problem. Oh yeah, this thing exists. So I put 4 copies of it in my deck.
From playing Kyrie, I do like this card a lot.
Yeah.
What does it do?
I think it's a good card.
And so when it's placed on rear during your main phase, you counterblast 1, you call a card, and if you called something, you draw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you have to call something, I think, grade less than your Vanguard, but like, who cares?
Less than or equal to.
Yeah, because you're on grade 2 already, so whatever.
Yeah.
So you basically call something.
This was like the one original thing I came up with for this deck. I was like, hey, wait a minute. Melty exists.
It's pretty
you know what? At least it's better than Spino Extort.
Yeah. It did come up a couple of times. Like, I called it against Narukami, which was a mistake because I was playing against Narukami.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aqua, honestly, kind of disappointed me. Like, there were a lot of times where I drew Aqua and had nothing else in my hand to bounce back with it.
Oh, the creepy webbed fingers. I can't, dude.
So it was just a situation where it's like, I would much rather be like, I don't want to ride Melty because she's only on rear guard, but that means I have to ride Aqua, and then her ability just kind of fizzles out because it's like, since it doesn't have a cost, it's just mandatory, and if I have nothing on my board, then it just blanks.
Oof.
Yeah, and then I also have 3 copies of Lieselot because I needed to fit a lot of different things into my deck, and so I had to cut something, and I thought Lieselot was more cuttable than Aqua because Aqua does bounce a card to hand to like set up the mechanic.
All right, but you can call Lieselot at grade 1 and ride Aqua at grade 2 and bounce Lieselot.
Yeah, see, this is where one of the mistakes came in because only having 3 Lieselot meant I never drew it.
Ah, yeah, that'll happen.
Barber's Law didn't come in handy this time. Bummer.
No, you have to be playing like 2. You can't be playing 3. Three's 2 middle ground.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 copies of Spica because more attacks.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only thing I have to say about that card.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only Bermuda card I know from sight.
Me too. Yeah, everything else looks the same to me.
Yeah, I will always remember Spica. Please make a V Spica that can bounce things. Please.
No.
Please, Bushiroad.
Hey, you know what? They'll probably do that the same day they come out with a V Crayon Tiger. Good freaking luck.
Yeah, so, and then this grade 1 is Mikita, so it's Soul Blast 1 or more cards. It gets Plower plus 5,000, Shield plus 5,000 for each one Soul Blast. If you Soul Blast 3 or more, you can draw a card, so this one is like kind of a tech. I'm only playing 2 copies, so I wanted the shield value because I already figured that my deck does not have a lot of card advantage because so many things in it discard, so I just need bigger shields. And then this can also sometimes draw me a card. It does conflict a bit with Heltrauda because Heltrauda seems to have every single cost humanly possible attached to her.
That's true.
Like, the more I play with this card, the less I like it. In this specific deck, anyways.
Counterblast, Soul Blast, discard a card, pay life points, tap mana, pay your tax attorney, all that good stuff. Yeah.
This was another silly decision. So, because Anjay was my main ride, I figure, like, okay, this card, like, Anjay gets me Force Marker, so this is like a 13k booster and a 15k shield. And because I don't draw a lot of cards, that might be relevant. I ended up in a lot of situations where I could not set up Anjay's effect early, so I did not have enough Force Markers for it, because I just always lost the die roll.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Or when I win the die roll, I don't have a grade 2 and can't ride to grade 3 on time. I'm still upset about that. 2 heal guards because I couldn't find my other 2 draw PGs and I don't own the crit sentinels. So this is what kind of made me have to compromise some parts of my deck list. Otherwise, I'd have the 4th Lieselot.
So in a perfect world, you have a 4th Lieselot and
probably just like 3. Probably like the 3 draws because this deck really needs to draw cards, and then maybe just the 1 Sentinel.
Okay.
Because like a 1-card PG does come in handy when your deck constantly has no cards in its hand.
Yeah.
So Spiana was countercharging because the G-Guard counterblast, Heltrauda counterblast, Anjay counterblast, at least some of your rear guards counterblast if I end up using Spica or Melty. So I was like, alright, between Heal Guardians because I can afford to call them and bounce them back to my hand, discarding copies of Anjay or Tira for striding, this card should be live a decent amount of times. That ended up not being true. So what this card does is, like, when it's placed, you return a card with the same card name as a grade 3 on Vanner Rear from your drop zone, and if you return the card, countercharge. My line of thinking was not correct. This deck... You're going to notice that this deck list is just going to be me talking shit about the deck list for most of it. Please do not play this deck list.
I think that this might be my favorite version of a deck list. Because normally a deck list is somebody going like, all right, here's a list. They don't even have to own the cards necessarily. And you're just being like, okay, this is what you shouldn't be playing. You're basically the Dare of Vanguard right now.
Yeah. So,
it is interesting to see like how good ideas can go wrong, right? Or like your idea can like not pan out. I think that's valuable.
It is.
Yeah.
Also, like working with the resources you have on you because you had to use like cards. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted this for the counter charge because I was looking through all the Bermuda cards and I was like, I need something to offset the fact that I'm counterblasting 3 for any particular turn. Plus, like, the G-Guard has to counterblast 2, so that was what I went with because I'm like, alright, this can recycle Tiruas to call off Anjay. I can also recycle Heal Guardians if it comes to it, which I think was relevant when we were testing, but not in any actual games at BRO. But so I wanted to like this card more than I did, and there were times like when I was testing where it would come up and it felt really impactful because like, all right, I got the counter charge ready, but you know, it just relies on me drawing multiple copies of the same grade 3. So this is one of those cards where like if the deck had more cohesive tools, like I could search out grade 3s more consistently, or I could bounce cards to my hand for a lower cost, I think this card would be more impactful, just because I would have those duplicate grade 3s to work with, but because I don't. And then, of course, 3 copies of Sedna, because I think I needed to cut a grade 1, and for some reason I decided the Pufferfish Girl was a good idea. I'm pretty sure I only played this card because I find the art highly amusing.
It is very amusing.
It is pretty funny.
Her hair's going crazy.
Yeah, but they're just making the same face.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and then SP Shizuku.
Fair enough. SP starters are cool. Where's your SP starter, Atlas? I'm sorry, I think I missed it.
That's for Great Nature. I
have the Tachi SP starter. Where's yours?
Yeah. Otherwise, for the trigger lineup, so mostly standard. The only thing is like I am playing the 1 copy of Crook because extra attacks and it's free. I just have to remember my Harmony columns, which I did forget once, but I was able to fix it because I went full combo that turn.
Nice.
Good save.
Yeah.
And you're playing the best Overtrigger.
That was the game where I like missed my grade 2 ride. So even though I went full combo, and it felt like a good back and forth regardless. Like I enjoyed that game. It was just like, damn, just barely not good enough. Yeah. And then for the strides, 4 copies of Heltrauda, because what the hell else am I playing in this deck? I'm not going back to old Harmony cards, or maybe I am.
What does Heltrauda do?
So, on attack, discard 3 cards. Return all cards on all circles other than Vanguard to your hand. And then you can call 2 cards from hand to rear. At the end of that battle, you can counterblast 1, soul blast 1, return it to the G zone, and stand one of your Vanguards. I wish the costs on this were flipped. There were so many times where I had really awkward hands, and I'm like, it really sucks having to throw away like 2 crits and a PG because that's all I can afford to get rid of if I want to also have an offensive turn.
Yeah. Can I just say I'm so glad that you are not playing the Tirua stride? Somebody was on camera, I think it was the Riviera player, and they went into Tirua's twice and were just like, but why?
Yeah. Which, funny thing, I was like thinking it was something to like have. What is the Riviera list? I'll look at it later.
Is Olivia just better?
For this deck, yes. Olivia's actually like still low-key pretty good. If this wasn't GB, it doesn't have GB on it, but it needs the card face up.
Yeah.
So yeah, Olivia is actually like a really strong combo still because turns out Olivia Spica is just still good, and if you combine that with the Tira grade 3, you can just get a lot of attacks. So that was actually my preferred play a lot of the time, was going into Olivia. There were times where I couldn't because I didn't have a card face up.
Tragic.
I have the 1 copy of Anjay. I didn't go into it. There were times where I should have when I could, and I didn't, and that was a mistake. But yeah, this card just kind of, it fills up space in the G zone, and sometimes you actually just need to draw cards. Like, you can't make other plays.
Makes sense. And the very, very rare Link Choker matchup. And
yeah. Well, Heltrauda bounces cards, not units. So
it's cards too? Okay. All right.
Yeah, so you can actually just unlock your board with Heltrauda.
Nice. Okay.
They don't have
Heltrauda's big problem is that this list that I have can't afford the discards. I think there are decks that can afford it, like Highlander or Pacifica, and I wish I played Pacifica instead. I think while the Pacifica list looks kind of similar to this, but like I feel like I could more confidently make my plays when I was doing it.
Have you considered not having Twitter decide what deck you're playing?
Yeah,
We keep telling you, you don't have to let other people like decide for yourself. Like,
See, that's the thing, is like I wanted to play this deck anyways, but
That's fair.
like, because the original reason I switched into Pacifica was that I thought I wasn't going to get any copies of this. It turns out the person that, or the shop that I was buying this from on TCG Player, they only had 2 copies of it, not 4, and 2 was what I was testing anyway. So I'm like, oh, I can actually go and make the deck list that I was originally testing, and so I pivoted back into this, which I kind of regret.
Ah,
what are you gonna do? I just love the idea of like us being like, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I'd play this, and then you're just like, if I had to do it all over again, I'd play a completely different deck list.
Yeah, and then I have a copy of the GB8 because I don't own Megiddo.
fair.
Anyways, for G cards, I have 2 of the new one. This card theoretically does things, but I never got a chance to use it.
Somebody started on me and then died the same turn somebody used it on me, did the plus 5k and then died anyway.
Yeah, that'll happen. So again, this deck doesn't have any good like defensive bounce targets. Like returning this to the hand, because I don't have 3 force markers very often to get, but I usually have 2. So bouncing back this grade 1 can give me like a 15k shield. That's pretty nice. And yeah, there's nothing else like any triggers that got stuck because of Lieselot I could bounce back with it, but I don't know. This list that I'm running just didn't have any impactful bounce targets for this card to really go off with.
Yeah.
And also, if I go into the Anjay full combo, sometimes the only card on my board is a Tirua.
No Couture.
Yeah, I decided not to run Coutier.
Well, you can't because you're not Highlander.
Yeah.
Despite all your one of SPs.
Mm-hmm. Also, another thing I didn't really stop to consider was that Heltrauda and Anjay don't go together very well, because for you to go off completely with Anjay, you need to have 4 things to bounce.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use Heltrauda, you're only going to have 2.
Just call 2 Lieselots.
I mean, she's a hard once per turn, so...
Oh, never mind. Just kidding.
Yeah,
all right,
so...
call 1 Lieselot, and I got nothing.
Yeah, see, so that was one of my problems, was like, I would use Heltrauda, go back into Anjay, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, how do I make Anjay work? And I look at my opponent's board, and I'm like, damn, I have to give you cards back. I'm pretty sure this is what contributed to me losing to Dark Irregulars, was I had to bounce back a crit, so they were able to stride using it, and they went into Blader Mouse and returned their entire soul's worth of triggers into their deck.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So, yeah. Anyways, Citron, I'm playing 2 of these because I did not have, like, a Megiddo to only play 5G guards with, so... I
got 3 minutes of my life wasted by that card.
Yeah, so that could call something mid-battle phase not impactful in this deck. Again, I feel like I was designing for Pacifica, where I had some kind of vision for the deck, and then I played this instead, where my vision was extremely lacking. 1 copy of Sandy, because Sandy is just big. And then 1 Leona, just because it bounces stuff back from hand, so you can get some utility off of it, though. This one, if you bounce something back, it is mandatory that you have to call something back, and it gets the 5k shield if it's the same name.
Wait, is it mandatory?
Yeah. When placed, choose one of your rear guards, return it. You may return it. If you do, choose a card from your hand, so... if you bounce it, calling back is mandatory.
Damn. I didn't know if you could fail to find.
Yeah. So... and then if it's the same card name... And then, 4 copies of Olivia, because Olivia is just good.
Yeah.
She do have a crit.
Mm-hmm. Which didn't end up being super relevant, although, like, because this is a Force deck, she can just randomly be, like, 50k with a crit if you boost it.
That's true.
That's pretty funny.
So, yeah, like, coming away from this list, I was, like, very disappointed. It's funny, because, like, I came out of our testing when we were just playing the night before, feeling like this deck was okay, and then I actually went into BRO, and it just kept bricking left and right, and I'm like, damn, I regret all of my life decisions right now.
The night before, I felt awful, and then I started playing, and it was okay.
Yeah. So I
The
don't
day
have
of-
the Pacifica list I would have played handy, but like I wish I had gone into that. I feel like while the end result would have probably been very similar, I think I would have just felt better about the deck.
Well, if you guys want to see that Pacifica list, leave a comment down below. Do you like it? All that good stuff. Leave a like.
Mhm. Like that deck has even more random 2-ofs because there are so many good cards that I want to put in the deck, and I don't know how to make space for it.
Mm-hmm. What was the thing you have? Oh yeah, for my list, I think my list worked fine. It's just that the Overtrigger can go eat all of the lemons and die a horrible, vicious death.
Whoa, you have to be positive, Atlas.
Oh
No.
my god! Like, yeah. So we already made our freaking opinion known on Twitter. Everybody's pissed off again because everybody was reminded. I really hope this just goes the way of what's it called?
We sure hope so, but this is now my third time making a video about the Overtrigger.
Mm-hmm.
You should play this card. It's pretty cool.
It looks cool. All right. So how was everyone else's BRO experience?
You want to talk about like the topping lists? Because I do kind of want to talk about some of the topping lists.
Whoa.
Fuck it. It's gonna be like do we want to speed through it or what?
I mean, look, I want to talk about a couple of the topping lists because they're relevant to me specifically.
Fine, go.
So one was like the topping Rivier list. So that one's just really funny because of like what it could potentially do. Give me a sec to pull up the list. I think I have the code for it.
I dislike how that player kept going into Tirua. And doing,
I missed a lot of this because I was
doing nothing.
shopping.
Tirua was a vanilla stride every time.
What? He just didn't have 3 things to return to restand?
It has to. I mean, yeah. Well, he couldn't afford to.
Yep. So
Does it have to be Choos?
no, they just returns anything. That's why you play it.
Oh, but it gets power if they're Choos. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Anyways.
they just didn't restand.
Okay, that makes it really bad then. But yeah, I want to talk. I'm sharing my screen, by the way, Atlas.
That's fine. Dang it. Sorry, I'm doing a different thing. There we go.
Yeah, I just want to talk about this deck because of how funny the combo is. Did he ever pull off like the full combo?
Yes, in both semifinals and finals.
Somebody explain the combo to me.
Okay, so you see this grade 2 here. So she has an act ability. Put this card into Soul. Choose a card from your hand and discard it. If your Vanguard is Mermaid Idol, the grade 1, then search your deck for Super Idol, the grade 2, and write it.
Okay.
So this lets you ride up early.
Okay.
So you're going to... So that means, like, you know, when your opponent's at grade 0, you're going to be at grade 2. You know, they go to grade 1, then you go up to grade 3. So because of how the stride rules work, while they're still on grade 2, what you can do is you can stride Heltrauda on top of Rivier, and then, you know, you go do Heltrauda things, you ride back down to the grade 3 Rivier, and then that also lets you re-ride your Vanguard to attack again, so you ride back down to grade 2.
What?
So you
Are
get
you
to like
serious?
But yes, the full combo is you ride up to grade 3 early, stride, then restand your Vanguard twice, and ride back down to grade 2.
Wow, that's really funny. Holy shit!
Yeah. They did the combo twice. Like I said, semifinals they like stomped their opponent, but they kept going into Tirua. Like if you look at their G zone, they just kept going into the Tirua stride.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's like a GB3 at the end of the battle of the deck. Like, choose 3 of your rear guards, bottom deck them, restand it, and it gets drive -2. So, you do play this card because it's a generic restander, but it's like, if he didn't restand with this, I have no idea why.
Yeah, no, you'd have to watch the VOD, but like, I thought that was weird.
They ended up getting second, right?
Yeah, they ended up getting second.
Yeah, they got second because
they lost the finals despite doing the combo.
Yeah, but that's the only reason I wanted to talk about this deck is just because that full combo is like really, really funny.
Okay.
I think they won against, or they were okay against dolls because the doll, like they did 2 damage to Nightmare Dolls early, right? but Nightmare Doll's second damage was the Overtrigger. So they kept him at 1 counterblast, so they couldn't do double Alice Loop.
That's pretty funny.
That was pretty
That's like
amazing.
using the OT against them.
Yeah.
And then the other top 16 list I want to talk about is Battle Sisters, because I said that they were unplayable when we were doing our V-Clan collection review, and I was wrong.
That's right. There was one OTT in there. Yeah.
Yeah, the game that they lost, they got pretty unlucky. They had drawn 2 of their Amaterasu.
Oh.
Yeah, and like just didn't have.
I just want to say, like, I'm sorry I called Battle Sisters unplayable. I didn't think about it at all. I was wrong.
Yeah, we had a Susano list in Asia Oceania, and this was in North America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember when we were talking about it, just like on our bonus show, patreon.com/Nexus at night, we were talking about like how do you beat Night Rose, because protect gifts, and this is how you beat Night Rose. So when it attacks, if you look at your deck by a card ability this turn, it gets 5k, and you can Soul Blast upgrade 3 and block Sentinels. So instead of going for Ichitam, you go for this with Ichikashima. Your opponent can't Sentinel. They also can't call grade 0s and 4 and G guards. So, like, how do they guard it?
That's pretty funny.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what the win con is. Although, they're on 4 Ichikashima, 3 of the Happiness Dragon, and 2 Momos.
And
the Momo is
Vanilla
kind of
LT.
like your...
OT.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I think like the drive checks aren't that crazy. I think you actually just want the 100 million power, because if you're just gonna stop your opponent from calling like Sentinels anyways.
Oh yeah, guess that makes sense. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're playing a split of crit Sentinels and draws, which when I was thinking about the list, I was thinking of just going full crit Sentinels, but I guess they decided otherwise. And I wanted to actually play Battle Sisters in V just for the heck of it, because I forgot my Royal Paladin starter, although I'm trying to correct that. I don't have heal guards, which is bumming me out a little bit.
It is nice to have some access to some amount of PGs. I think, the other thing that this person lost when they lost in Top Cut is that their opponent drew 3 natural free PGs. Like, like invisible, like not off drive checks, just naturally drew.
Oh, so they were like, all right, we got him, and it's like,
so
not another one.
So not only was this person out of 2 Amaterasu really early, their opponent also just had 3 PGs, which
that's
is
really unfortunate.
Kind of just a loose condition for you.
Yeah, and then it looks like instead of playing instead of playing the generic grade 3 searcher, they play this card where you can like Soul Blast 1 instead of discarding.
Yeah, this is a cool list. I believe this person's in Proof Court as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Good on this person for like, because OTT is very like
interesting that they're playing the Battle Sister crit. I don't remember what this card does. Oh, it's Countercharge 2. Yeah, that is important.
I also wondered about that when I first saw it.
You put it back in deck. It gives your Vanguard red text Oracle, meaning 5 or more cards, and then when it attacks, Countercharge 2. Yep. So you can go, all right, put a crit back in deck, and then give your
both of those things seem like pretty good.
Yeah.
I assume they're just playing the one like Battle Sister crit just because I don't know if anything needed the name, so I'm just going to assume that they didn't have a third one of the Stride crit.
No, they're already capped out on Sentinels.
No, the Stride crit.
Stride crit.
Oh, yeah, because they're only playing 2 Stride crit and 1 Vanilla crit, so I'm just going to assume that they didn't have the third one.
Unless they wanted a Battle Sister name for some reason, but
I can't think of anything that needs a Battle Sister name.
I don't think so.
This one only cares about like units for like her call ability. I don't know that it's super relevant. But yeah, it could just be for like the Battle Sister name, because they are playing a decent number of like non-names.
But I do agree with you. That's probably just they couldn't find a third crit or something.
And then
Magical Calico, because duh.
As for the G guards, 3 Amaterasu, because that's like the only good one we have. The Battle Sister one, I think, just says draw a card.
I think that card's pretty good. I think the Battle Sister one's pretty good.
No, you just it does. Draw a card and then check your top deck so you can like stack on your turn a bit and then like pure copium.
I never saw that card happen. It was always the other 2.
What does that one do?
That's the new one.
Yeah, so like you choose 2 grades from 0 to 3, declare them, reveal your top card. If the top card is any of the revealed cards, it gets shield plus 15.
I do want to make a comment about this card. Let's scroll back up to the deck really quick.
Okay, sure.
Look at so if you've already activated Calico, your deck is incredibly low on grade 3s, right?
Yes.
Meaning that choosing not 3 is a pretty safe option. That you can just pick like 0 and 0 and 2, say, or 0 and 1, whichever happens to be more convenient. Like 0 and 1 probably, but like you're pretty likely to hit.
Yeah.
Like once you've activated Calico, right?
But it does also add the. Oh. So yeah, if you get the reveal card right, you can draw it, and then also gets 15k shield.
But I do think this deck is constructed in a way where this card's a bit more likely to work.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, this is just a super cool deck list. I think it's really cool.
I like it.
And then the rest of the Battle Sister cards are all just stuff that gain power.
Fair.
Yeah, some of them have always been staples, right?
Yeah. I think this one doubles your trigger powers. This one, yeah, you just gain 10k for checking a trigger. So all of this just this one stacks your top deck. It gains 5k.
Okay.
That's what half of them do is stack your top deck and get 5k.
Yeah. That's also what the grade 2 does, aside from the Sentinel Restrict. I think this one searches for a grade 3.
Yep. And also gets 5k.
Yeah, and then this one just gains 10k. So all of the actual Battle Sisters are just big. But yeah.
Sorry, what?
So I just wanted to highlight that one because I really like OTT, and it's really been a while since I've thought about the clan. So
That's dope.
since Bermuda kind of disappointed me, I might go back to OTT since we're somewhat relevant.
Go for it. Before we go, I wanted to bring up Fuzzy Paradox's always fantastic pie charts of the nice of the top 8s, because not only is he quick about it, it's just visually pleasing. So first, I guess I'd bring up. Sorry, not that one. North America. So ours, we had a top 16 because there were so many people. And this is pretty freaking varied. 3 Bermuda, 2 Dimension Police, 2 Order Colony, 2 Narukami, 2 Gears, which is interesting.
I don't think it was Order Colony. It was Shieldfisher Colony and Machinings.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so...
Which, I need to look at the machining list, because that one, I'm wow.
Yeah.
Because I saw it, I think Machinings was also the version of Mega Colony that topped EU or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I'll get to that in a sec. Pale Moon, Genesis, Grand Blue, OTT, and Angel Feather, which I think was Angel Gize, if I remember.
That deck's pure copium.
But I love that the amount of variety we have. Even with this, the only one, the most amount you have is a little under a quarter for one deck. So that's awesome.
Never mind. So the one that wasn't Shieldfisher, I think, was some sort of weird dark face deck.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Because Gridora Stride is completely balanced.
Yeah.
I know what deck it was.
What?
That it was Nikki Goldman on.
Oh.
I think it was Cradle Mega Colony. He said, I think there was some question. Yeah.
It was Cradle Mega Colony. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. It wasn't Shieldfisher Mega Colony. It was Flagberg.
I see.
No,
okay,
the other person...
This one's Shieldfisher because you can see it in the graphic.
Yeah. So the person who topped with Mega Colony here is Peter. He was playing Shieldfisher for sure.
Yeah. No, I was talking about NA. I think the other one was Flagberg Colony.
No. Peter also topped NA.
Oh, okay.
So it was him both
he didn't. No, he didn't. He did not top NA. He topped.
Yeah, because I see How is asking for the Mega Colony list, and Fuzzy Paradox sent a list for Flagberg Colony.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, that one's true. Sorry,
right,
I was thinking that, yeah.
We have, it's a
whole lot of Narukami.
It's a whole lot of Narukami in the EU, and some of it is Vanquisher, some of it is Pants
Dungaree.
Yeah.
Which, is Dungaree just Big Bungus?
Pretty much.
Yep.
It's Big Butt. It's the same thing as Shieldfisher. Which is fine. Highlander, DI.
No Life King shenanigans.
Yeah.
Murakumo.
This deck just keeps showing up.
Yeah, that Shiryuki deck's pretty scary.
Yeah.
And then, of course, and one Gear Chronicle, which I believe is the Mystery Flare double turn, right? Because that's it in the graphic there. But
yeah. And then the Gear Chronicle one in NA was some sort of Steam Maiden list. No, it wasn't.
Might be.
No, it was a Steam Maiden list.
And then lastly, I love this so much. This is the top 8 for Asia Oceania is 8 different decks. Look at this. DI, Mega Colony, Spikes, Bermuda, Pale Moon, Grand Blue, Aquaforce, OTT.
Yep.
Damn. So there's Shieldfisher again for Mega Colony. I notice Thavas and Susano eat their way into top 8, but I just love that it looks like the movie poster for Love Actually. That's.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like coming away from this, it seems like consistent representation was Narukami, although that one actually has different variants. So like Vanquisher, what's this?
Eradicator.
Dungary, and like Eradicators all saw it. I think for NA we had Vank and Eradicator based on the Fuzzy Paradox pie chart.
Mm-hmm. I think it's good in terms of like the meta being balanced, but again, just like over and over on stream, you had like the OTs deciding games.
How done was everyone when they were like whenever it came up?
Like Outer Orange and TIE Fighter were doing the North America one, and they were just like, gross. Like even TIE Fighter's mustache was getting tired, and that mustache never gets tired. So, yeah.
Speaking of tired.
Yeah, we should probably wrap this up. Thanks everybody for listening. Patreon.com/Nexus at Night support the show. We got merch. We got playmats. Nexus at Night on Twitter or Instagram. How about the rest of us?
You can find me on Twitter at Wiggums2Gs2Zs.
You can find me at Plasma Eclipse.
Find me at Atlas Novak, Twitter, Instagram, or follow my other show at Generation Dan on Twitter or Generation_Dan on Instagram. Thanks everybody for listening. Until next time, I was Atlas.
I'm tired.
I'm Root Beer.
And have a